What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Pace Studio here in Midtown Manhattan, New York City. We are really thrilled to be joined today by Whitney Rose. Thank you so much for coming and playing some songs for us today.
Oh, thanks for having us. We're
Yeah,
excited.
I mean, it's our pleasure. We've been really digging this record, Rule 62, your new record, since it came out on October 6th, and excited to hear some songs from that today. So tell me a little bit about the first song you're going to do for us today.
We're going to start off with a tune that I wrote called Wake Me in Wyoming, and it's about traveling and not necessarily wanting to do so.
Okay.
A one, two, a one, two.
Let me sleep. Wake me in Wyoming, 'cause I don't wanna feel how far away I'm going. Let me sleep till we cross that state line, so I can change my mind and just go back home. Let me sleep. Wake me in Wyoming, when the ocean's just a memory. Could have been a dream, and I won't cry if you wake me in Wyoming. If I get there without knowing my baby's still at home. You'd think by now I'd be used to the road, and leaving everything I love back at home. Let me sleep. Wake me in Wyoming. If I can't be in his arms, take me 1,000 miles away. Gain some ground, like you're leaving a crime scene. Show that highway no mercy. Get me where I'm going, and wake me in Wyoming.
Thank you so much. So I wanted to ask you about this record that you just put out. It's your second full length. I think that's right. Yeah.
It is actually my third.
Your third full length?
I did release 3 full-length albums, but the first album that I released, it was only ever released in Canada.
Oh, right. Where
So
you
this
are,
is-
where you are from originally.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
you have sort of adopted Austin as your hometown in recent years.
That's right.
Um,
I've lived in Austin for 2 years now.
2 years. And so, so I was going to start off by saying you released an EP earlier this year called South Texas Suite, which is sort of, I guess, like a love letter to your adopted home. And that came out in January, I think. And then, just a few months later, you released Rule 62, which is like a full-length album. And so, my curiosity was that always the plan, to jump right into this larger album from the EP that you put out earlier in the year?
No, it was not. So what happened was, I signed with my record label a couple of months after I moved to Austin, and they basically told me that they wouldn't be ready with their release schedule. They wouldn't be ready to put out an album of mine until late 2017. And even though I had only been living in Austin for a couple of months, I had so much that I wanted to do, you know, and Austin is such an inspirational musical city. It's there's so much happening, and the camaraderie of people within the musical community in Austin is incredible. And so I befriended a number of people, and so I was starting to go out to a lot of shows, and so I was just writing a shit ton. Sorry.
That's all right. This is the internet. I encourage people.
Okay.
To curse. Yeah.
Usually I get in trouble for that.
No.
But
We
it always
actually
just
just
slips out.
we had Waka Flocka Flame in here a couple days ago, and
Okay.
you have a long way to go
Okay.
to reach his level
Awesome.
of profanity. So don't worry about it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had all these songs that I had written, and a number of them still have not been recorded, and they probably never will. But I had also befriended a lot of really incredible musicians who helped me to get into that scene, and so I wanted to record music with them, and so I basically approached my label and said, okay, we can't put out anything full length until later in 2017, but can I do something a little sooner, like just an EP or release a few songs? And they obliged, which I'm very grateful for. I'm very grateful for my record label. So we got to record some of the songs that I wrote after having moved to Austin, and I got to record with quite a few of I would say Austin's finest, at my friend Dale Watson's studio, and so that was really important to me, and it was also really important to me that we do that, because we had decided fairly early in my signing that we would be making my full length in Nashville, which is a little different.
Yeah.
So just doing something in Austin was really important to me.
Yeah, I mean, my curiosity, I knew that you recorded Rule 62 in Nashville, but you've really made Austin your home. What was it? We have so many musicians in here who come from places like Canada and lots of other places, and they all gravitate to Nashville, which may be a good thing for Austin, to take some of the focus away, and it's so crowded and with musicians in Nashville now. So what was it about Austin that led you there, and not, let's say, straight to Nashville when you came from Canada?
Well, I had never been there, so I'm a nomad by nature. So I've moved around a lot in my life, and when I released my last full-length album before Rule 62, Heartbreaker of the Year, it sold more copies in the U.S. than it did in Canada, and so I said, well, don't swear.
No, please.
Forget it. I'm gonna go to.
I can't imagine what you were going to say.
I'm gonna go to America, and I had spent at that point, when I made that decision, I had spent a bit of time in Nashville, and I like Nashville, but the other music city
in America, I think, is Austin, and I had never even been there as a visitor, and so I was just really curious about it. And it was supposed to be a very temporary move. Initially, I was going to be there for, I think, only 2 months, but pretty much as soon as I arrived, you know, it was, when I did arrive, it was 2 o'clock in the morning because I drove. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I had a rehearsal with a band the following day of people who I'd never met, and we were going to play a show at the Continental Club, which is one of the best venues in Austin. The day after that, and so it immediately felt like home.
Yeah, and I'm sure you saw many Americans passing you on the way to Canada as you came down to America. I feel like that's, you know, the trend now.
Sure. Yeah.
People
Yeah.
fleeing back toward Canada.
I know. I feel like such an idiot. But how was I to know?
Yeah. Right. Well, now we know. It's too late. So tell me about the next song you're going to do for us from Rule 62.
We are going to do a song about kind of touching on your last comment. They're a song about breakups, and yeah, the beauty of divorce.
1, 2, 3.
I don't want half, I just want out. Will you take the house, dear? I'll take the train. All that I want from you now is to be far away. I'll put it in writing in case there's doubt. I don't want that, I just want out. Here's a goodbye kiss. Now you'll never touch these lips. And please tell your girlfriend she can have all my clothes. I wanna make myself real clear, I won't be roundabout. I don't want half, I just want out. Yeah, you can even keep my ring. I never
Thank you so much. So tell me, what is Rule 62?
So it's an old saying from Alcoholics Anonymous, and it it basically means don't take yourself too damn seriously, which is something that I always try to live by.
Yeah. And are the songs on the record sort of a piece with that general, like, is it sort of an overarching idea in how you conceived a lot of these songs?
Absolutely. And it wasn't even that apparent to me as I was writing them, the songs for Rule 62, but for whatever reason, I was writing all of these songs about basically being like stood up by society, and taking kind of a you're better than this approach. Like, don't worry about it, like move on, like make fun of someone and move on, or like tell someone off and move on. It's not the end of the world, even though a lot of the situations in my songs from Rule 62 could seemingly be the end of the world, like divorce. You know, you think that everything, basically you think your world is ending. And so I wanted to take a lighthearted approach to getting out of these shitty situations.
Yeah.
And then it was very much, it was kind of kismet how the album got named, because while we were recording in Nashville at Blackbird, a member of my production team, he is a recovered alcoholic, a recovered addict, and so for like a lot of our lunch breaks, he wouldn't go eat. He would go to a meeting and sponsor someone, because he's been recovered for a long time. And one day when he came back, and I think it was like in the middle of recording, but he came back and he was wearing this pin and it said Rule 62. And for whatever reason, I noticed it and it piqued my interest. So I asked him about it, and he told me the story about AA and what Rule 62 is, which is don't take yourself too damn seriously. And I said, well, that's the name of this album. And then I don't think that he even believed me that day when I said I was going to name the album that, but I had every intention of doing so. So he was pretty happy when he saw. Were
you curious about, like, you know, Rule 61 and 63? Like,
no.
Are they related in any way?
No, I'm assuming they're dumb.
Yeah. I don't know how many there are. Like, if there's like Rule, 212.
Well, I can tell you the story.
Yeah.
About what Rule 62 is, if you really want to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so when Alcoholics Anonymous was being conceived, and it was growing around the country, and I believe everything was started in New York. It was upstate New York, and so these offices were being born all around the country, and there were 61 of them. And so the head office sent out, I don't know what it would have been at that point, maybe a telegram,
yeah,
or
right.
something. But they said basically, like, okay, every one of the like initial offices for Alcoholics Anonymous, you get to submit a rule. And they were just all fucking stupid. They were like, this is how long the coffee needs to be brewed. The cookies need to be baked this way. Only these people are allowed into this meeting. And it was just so against, I guess it was against everything that the person who, the people, I should say, who birthed AA, it went against everything that they stood for. And so they sent out another telegram, and it said, okay, there's only one rule for Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's Rule 62, and it's do not take yourself so damn seriously.
Right. And also seemingly, there is one rule that kind of in effect nullifies all of these other stupid rules.
Yes.
And that in itself seems sort of like a good, it's not just don't take yourself so seriously, it's let's not try to confine ourselves to these like really constricted ways of living, I guess.
Don't sweat the small stuff, man.
Yeah, don't sweat the small stuff. Cool. Yeah. So you guys are going to do one more from Rule 62.
That's right.
Tell me what that one's going to be.
We are going to do a tune that I wrote. It's called Trucker's Funeral. So when I moved to Austin 2 years ago, I think it was a month after I moved to town, I finally got my stuff together and went and set up a bank account. And I guess you don't usually do that as an adult because unless you're moving to a different country, at this day and age, you're usually a child. But like setting up a bank account as an adult is the most boring thing in the world. So I was in this dude's office at Bank of America in Austin, and I was in there for probably 45 minutes. And everything was done, I had signed all of the contracts and everything. And then I still, to this day, I don't know what compelled him to tell me this story. But as I was leaving, like as everything was done, he told me a story about his grandfather who was a trucker in Texas. And when he went to his grandfather's funeral, I think it was like 10 years ago or something, he discovered that he had a completely separate family living on the West Coast, living in California.
Yeah, that's something in the trucker community I know can happen.
But it was amazing because it was the best thing I heard all day. Number one, that's boring shit. And number two, it's depressing because I'm a musician. So setting up a bank account makes you think twice about your life choices up until that point.
Right. Until you hear the story about...
until I heard that story. And then I just started jotting down lyrics on my banking contracts, and I still have them. So it's pretty cool. But this is the song that came out of that.
Cool.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Daddy was a trucker man, saw every inch of this fair land and more. He didn't mind the taxing hours, just loved the road like his old man before. Me and my two sisters and our mama missed him while he was away. We held the fort in Georgia while Daddy made sure all the bills got paid. Mama always told him, honey, get your rest and please mind what you eat. I guess he didn't listen, his heart gave out when he was 53. At my daddy's funeral, we saw some folks we'd never seen before. So I thought nothing of it when I saw 4 strangers walking through the door. I heard the lady tell someone those 3 boys, they were all her sons and men. My eyes grew the size of saucers. I could not believe what I heard next. She said we came here to Georgia, all the way from California, where we live.
Thank you. So does the guy at Bank of America know about this song? Have you like been back in there and told him what you did?
I have every intention. To be honest, I haven't been home long enough to have the time to go back to my local branch.
Yeah.
But I am going to do that. I hope that he's not, mortified.
I mean, how could he be? That's going to be the highlight of his year, I would think, of his career in banking. Rarely does it lead to country songs, providing that kind of paperwork. So that was 3 songs from Rule 62, the new album by Whitney Rose. It's a great album, and congratulations on it.
Thank you.
You guys are on tour right now. I know you have a show coming up tonight here in New York City at Hill Country.
That's right, at the Manhattan location, yeah.
At the Manhattan location, right. Where are you headed from here?
Tomorrow we are going to be at Hill Country in Washington. Mm-hmm. And then we head back up to Canada to do a bunch of dates with the Mavericks.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so everyone, WhitneyRoseMusic.com is the website, and you can find out where she's going to be near you. So thank you so much for coming to Paste and playing some songs for us today. They really sounded great, and congrats on the record.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Come back and play again anytime for us.
Thank you. Can I take a second to introduce my band?
Yeah, please, absolutely.
This is Will Meadows on guitar. This is Chris Sensat on drums. Andrew Pacheco behind me on the bass. This is Michael Molnar on guitar.
Thanks to everybody. You guys sound great.
Oh,
and have a great time on tour. And congrats on the record again. And please come by and play for us again.
Thanks.
All right.